to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
All right, here we go. Let's roll it. Big Legit back in the house, ready to talk to all of you out there about some totally awesome comic books that ruled in the 20th century. We're going back to the 1990s. In particular, we're going to November of 1992 to talk about what might be Donald Trump's favorite comic book to be released in the 20th century. It's Marvel's Soviet Super Soldiers #1. Why was this comic book made? That's a great question. So I think you have to understand that in 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, and by 1990, the Soviet Union was in tatters, the USSR, the CCCP. And you know, by the end of 91, it was over. Like the Soviet Union had broken apart, Russia existed, the Ukraine existed, Czech Republic, all of these things came into being all of a sudden with the fall of communism in the Soviet Union. And so you get to November of 1992. Now let me explain this to you. When I was a kid growing up in the great Pacific Northwest, there were no Russians. There were none. But all of a sudden, come 1992, there were Russian kids running around everywhere at my middle school. And they were cool. They're all very good people. I love Russian people, very hardworking people, very proud to come to our country and become Americans, exactly what you want from an immigrant, the same way that my great-grandfather immigrated here from Switzerland and was proud to become an American and didn't even want to talk about the old land that he came from because he was proud to be an American. So here you have Soviet Super Soldiers, which Marvel released. I'm not sure if this was to try to market to Russian kids who were moving here. I don't think that those Russian kids would have been able to read this comic book. But, you know, it was basically so interesting that everybody picked it up, you know, and here it is. This is it. So let's pop it open, and boom, right away we've got Captain America. So you think we've got a great comic book, right? Let's give you an idea what's going on here in the Red Triangle agenda. 21 years ago, no one was talking about the dissolution of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, of military coups, or nuclear buttons in the hands of barely experienced politicians. Everyone outside the boundaries of the monolithic communist nation were hoping upon hope that the democratic reforms being implemented in the world's largest country would work and freedom would soon ring across the USSR. Inside that country, a struggle of a different kind was being waged on a level beyond the comprehension of the regular working men and women. A war was being waged among the superhuman community, a war to determine how they would operate, who they would answer to, and what their priorities would be. It was a war, like all wars, which would have winners and losers, heroic survivors and remembered dead. Only the stakes were higher, because it was a war being waged among the super soldiers of the Soviet Union, walking weapons of destruction, and ironically, the first shot in that war was fired in the United States. So Cap, you know, is basically sending back these 3 Russian mutants who were pawns in you know, intergovernmental politics, international politics, if you will. So basically, they send these cats back to Russia, and you know, all of this dialogue is translated from Russian, and that's great. But my problem is that some of them speak in colloquial American style, which makes no sense to me or anyone else reading. So we've got these 3 defectors who have now been used as political pawns. And you get Ursa Major, who's the bear, Vanguard, who's this guy here, Ursa Major, Vanguard, Dark Star. And there's not a lot going on for me here. This is just reminds me of someone who should be in Alpha Flight, like, is it Snowbird, I think was her name? Maybe a little bit. Anyway, so, you know, you go through this, and then these guys show up, and you know, we're like, who are these people? We don't even really know who these people are. And then these dudes show up, and all of a sudden, you know, all hell goes crazy. All hell breaks loose, and this guy starts using his concussion blast. His name is Concussion, strangely enough, and that's what he can project from his hands, are concussive blasts. And they basically pull these people out, these three political pawns. These all Russian still. And they escape through a portal, I guess. I don't really know. And then all of a sudden, like, you just turn from this page to this page, and then, you know, it's the Russian scientists, USSR scientists, discovering they are gone now. And what will we do? We must find someone to hunt him down. So they get this dude Firefox, who has a gun for a hand and then a gun in his hand. And, you know, he's hired to look for them. And so he does. And then the Supreme Soviets show up. And this is like the Russian version of Thor. And I don't know. This is Sputnik. Just seems kind of outdated in '92. This is the Crimson, I don't know, the Crimson Guardian or some crap. And then you have the Crimson Dynamo, or maybe this is the Red Guardian and this is the Crimson Dynamo. I think that's it. This is the Crimson Dynamo. And we don't really know who any of these people are. And at no point in this comic book is it actually explained to us who any of these people really are. And it you know, honestly, this comic book is terrible. Then you come here and you've got all these people who aren't really recognizable. I don't know if these are the same people. I don't know if this is Dark Star, the blonde chick from back here. We don't know if this is her. I mean, it could be, but I don't see the bear guy, so maybe he is like the Hulk and he can turn back into a human, not really explained to us. Homeboy shows up, Firefox, time to die. And so like one of them goes through a portal, but Firefox is on a mission. I mean, even though he's an old man with the gray hairs and the U-Hawk, he is on a mission. It's like Hulk Hogan if he was Russian and had a gun for a hand. You cannot stop him. Hulkamania will never die, and Firefox will never die. And so he kills, you know, a few of these muties, blows off Concussion's hands so that he can't shoot his concussive blast, which I thought was actually kind of cool. A little brutal for a comic book for kids, but that's okay. Boys can deal with that, no problem. It's just a little violence. And it's a bad guy who caused the violence, and so that's teaching children, you know, that, you know, you shouldn't just use violence to get your way, but you need to use your words. Bad guys use violence and don't care about words, don't care about cutting deals that would make America great again, or make the Soviet Union, Russia, great again. Make Mother Russia great again. And so one of my big beefs is that the language used in this is not, it just doesn't sound like Russians. And I'm gonna find you something that explains that. I'll keep going here. Keep going. A bunch of political stuff's going on that really doesn't make any sense because there's just so many characters in this and we don't really know who any of them are, and we don't really give a crap. And then the Green Liberation Front shows up because basically Crimson Dynamo is trying to find Bolsky's remains. And Bolsky is inside of this green titanium man. But they're all green, and so it does not matter. And the titanium man has returned, so it's a red robot versus a green robot. And we don't know who the Green Liberation Front is. Like, even as an adult, I'm reading this, and I'm like, is this like environmentalist movement, or what is this? What is happening here? Part 2, the dissection of a surrender. So they fight and they fight and they fight in a very, very boring, but it is what it is. And then these mutants that were the political pawns, they just start fighting in Novosibirsk. And we don't know what that means though, because we're American. And this one shows up and it's just like all this fight. And then like, this is the weird one, is like this guy whose name is Cybercat. So like he's basically from Siberia. But I'm on it, Daddy-O. Oh yeah, fire away, babe. And let the kitty cat do some scratching and clawing. Okay, is he not Russian though? His name is Cybercat, he is Russian. Why does he say these things? I'm on it, Daddy-O. Oh yeah, fire away, babe. And let the kitty cat do some scratching and clawing. This is not how Russians speak. This guy who wrote this doesn't know, clearly had never met a Russian in his life. And then like, the dude who turns into the bear, but we don't actually see that transformation happen anywhere. I don't think, because like this guy is this guy and then the bear is just there. And it's freaking stupid. And then we go to Leningrad where everything is blown to hell. And there's Russian Thor. Loosen your shorts, lad. Why is he saying lad? I've never heard a Russian walk, oh, what are you doing, lad? How old are you, lad? And it's just terrible. This is just a terrible comic book. And then you have the unicorn show up, who actually, I kind of like the character, but I cannot figure out for the life of me why he did not buy an outfit that fits his body. Like, was this guy 400 pounds? Was this just a big fat guy on a bed in a basement who's hacking America's elections? Is he Russian? Is he American? What the hell is this? There he is again. Like, I like his look actually, but I just don't get what the hell is going on. And here's another chick who's in this comic, and I don't know. None of it makes any sense. And then the cops are just like, hold your fire. What's he saying, and why is he talking funny? Sarge, we got a readout on these perps. Oh, great. They're Russians. What the fuck do we do now? Okay. This is the way you portray American police officers? Like they're idiots? Why is he talking funny? You don't recognize a Russian accent? Like we were in a Cold War for 50 damn years practically, and you don't recognize a Russian accent, and you're a police officer. Okay. Whatever. And then the Russian Thor is like still Scottish. You still have no idea how absurd that appellation sounds. As for you, my emaciated comrade in fisticuffs, learn that the Slavic god of thunder does not need the affectations of his axe in order to unleash the furies of the storm. No, just to channel them. It's like, okay. So basically they put the unicorn down, and he's still wearing the baggy outfit that makes no sense. They wrap him up. I don't know who's good guys and bad guys. I know that Unicorn is a bad guy. He's got to be a bad guy. But the Soviet super soldiers, I don't know. I don't understand. And then, so we go from like, I truly think you're both man and machine, my friend Sputnik. Whatever makes him happiest, Thunder God. Let's clear Unicorn out before he wakes up. So they do. And then we get here. Let me just... So basically, like, then we go... morning, a farming collective in the Ukraine. Talk, slug. Tell me where Urkolovich, Petrovna, Kalenko, and Garnov are. Or join your pathetic mutant brothers in death. I do not know. Why protect them, asks Firefox. They have not endeavored to protect you. Where are they? I really don't know. And I'm sorry to hear that. I will continue to search for them. So he kills, this pathetic guy. And even if I have to kill every mutant in the Republic, I will find him. So, gang, what do we do now? Says a Russian dressed in a bomber jacket with a yo-yo. Yeah, he's Russian? Siberian, maybe? Cybercat? So, gang, what do we do now? Good question, Lavrov. And then you have these guys, like this dude with the uncircumcised head. I don't understand who draws this. This kind of looks cool for a cheap ripoff of the Beast, like Girl Beast, but all the rest of this is just pathetic. Like, are these Morlocks? They look like Morlocks to me. We can ask the same questions of you, Vanguard. The KGBshnik has decimated the underground mutant safe system. I don't know if this is the KGB? The KGB? KGB? I think. What do the six of you propose to do about it? And here's something else that really irks me. Okay, they're Russian. This one's, of course, speaking like an American. And then this one, and then like, they're speaking in English, but every once in a while they say a word in Russian, In the beginning they tell us that, this is translated from a Russian. But here you go. If this is translated from Russia, why are only some words in Russian? Like, why does this not just say KGB? Why does it have to be KGBshnik? It's just a shit story. excuse my language, but it is. This is a shit story. They take off the unicorn's head, and he's got this eyeball. This is like reminds me of the movie Labyrinth, when she first gets in the labyrinth and all the eyes turn. They turn and look at her. That's what it reminds me of. And then his eye just opens up and just spews out the flame, and he's just cackling like a baboon here. And I guess he escapes, kill it dead, blah blah blah. Poop poop. Dr. Perodovic to the rescue. Okay. This is kind of cool, like that these two here, it doesn't matter if lives are at stake. Very well. And then like they join together in this amazing transgendered moment where they like hermaphroditically unite into one Captain Planet. But looks really cool. Like a really cool looking Captain Planet. And I like this. This is the only thing in this comic I like here. And then Crimson Dynamo. Is his name maybe? Not Dmitri, Bukharin. I have ruined the Crimson Dynamo. Turn the armor over to me and you're free to leave. So it's Lenin underneath there apparently. Which confused me that it's Lenin. He should be dead in 92. And the mutants are like in this safe house, but I don't really understand why they're hiding, where they're hiding. Like this is on the Black Sea, I guess. You know, like a 12-year-old kid doesn't understand where the Black Sea is, doesn't know anything about Russia, doesn't understand all the places. It's just, this is terrible. And then Firefox shows up to kill some more people, and he succeeds, obviously. And then there's guys in planes that are coming, I guess, or helicopters. And she, the butch chick, the chick from the the Florida shooting, she uses her mind suck to suck all this out, I guess. She sucks their brains out. And then, you know, Vanguard, not Eric Larson's Vanguard, but a cheaper version of Vanguard with a human body, pulls off Firefox's like gun hand and then pulls out his eyepiece. And then, Father, no, Ilya, that is not our way. Then what will be our way, Father? I must admit, Alexei, even I am torn by our need for compassion and our fight for survival. And then, like, the little chick from the Parkland shooting is like, let me just absorb him, Father. I won't kill him. Just leave him like a plate of zakusi. 12-year-olds don't know what zakusi is. Stupid. Stupid writing. No, my child, that would be far too dangerous to your fragile union. I know more of this man than any of you do. Dead or alive or absorbed into Stencil. Her name is Stencil. He would mean trouble for us. I don't know why her name is Stencil. They never really explain any of this shit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to keep flipping because this is just terrible. He's got a peg leg. But I don't... This is apparently the Green Ranger. No, not the Green Ranger. What was he called? The Green Liberation Front. Everything's a liberation front in 90s Marvel, apparently. Green Liberation Front, Mutant Liberation Front. And then they, you know, like, Firefox is still alive, I guess. But he's got, you know, he's still there. And Unicorn's, like, put in the mental hospital. And I don't know. And I get a new suit for this dude. Did I skip that? No? I guess maybe I did. I don't think I care. And then, like, so basically, you know, Russian Thor doesn't get his axe anymore, but then, you know, this guy, you know, Red Ranger or whatever, these were handed over to us by the Scientific Council. They will channel your biometric blasts as well as follow your mental commands. So it's a hammer and a sickle. Okay, but here's the thing, is like the Soviet Union has fallen. It fell. It fell. In 91, it was over. This is like 9 months later into 1992, and I would think that any Russian character would not be proud of Hammer and Sickle, because Hammer and Sickle is symbol of oppressive government that killed millions of people in Russia. And Marvel has no clue as they try to cash in on Soviet super soldiers in 1992, year after USSR is dead, and then they use Hammer and Sickle as weapons? Who is this for? Who is comic book for? Is this for Donald Trump? I know he big Russian man. And I don't know, it's just shit. Fabian Nacho Cheese wrote a really shitty comic book here. Angel Medina and Javier Salterez did, you know, the art. Let me just go back to something else Fabian Nacho Cheese did here. This makes no sense. Why can't we be accepted the way they are? Remember, this is a Russian guy, but he speaks like an American. Why can't we be accepted the way they are? Oh, see, because they're accepted. They are accepted. The People's Protectorate. They changed their name from Soviet super soldier to People's Protectorate. So basically, like, so they were oppressing Russian people and Ukrainian people, Slavic people for 100 years. Now they are protectors. I don't understand who bad guy is. Why can't we be accepted the way they are? And then there's like this chick with this hair. Accepted by whom, Ilyich? The people? Oh, why do you let it affect you so much? Because it's not fair, that's why. Who are you now? Hey, I'm Maria, give me back my hair. No, last time you were Maria, you turned into Colonel Khrushchev in mid-sentence and blamed us for putting the wig and dress on you. Huh? What does that mean? I don't understand. So they... Weird transvestite comic. Hey, give it back. Nice, they are having fun. These last weeks have been quite restful here. I could stay in the Siberian lowlands forever. They're quite beautiful. Okay, she says to the book she's reading. I would rather we stop hiding and fight back against our oppressors. She's not even in this frame. Is he talking to her? That would not work, Nikolai, and why is that? Because, my stubborn old friend, the six of us aren't strong enough to do that. Okay, and this comic book isn't written strong enough. Mikhail is right. Winds of change already sweep through the Republic. It's not a republic, man. It oppressed people. It wasn't a republic. I mean, they can say they are, just like the DPKR, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the DPRK, excuse me, say they're a republic, but they're not. It's a dictatorship. We must ride those winds, striking where and when we can, surreptitiously, subtly, for mutant kind and mankind alike. Though we are exiles from mainstream life, we must fight for the rights of others to live it. I am Blind Faith, and all of us, Nikolai Krylenko, Vanguard, Lania Petrovna, Darkstar, Ilyich... You know, like, in this whole damn comic book, they have these Russians refer to each other by first and last name through half comic book, like they are friends. He would just be like, Ilyich, my boy. He would not say Ilyich Lavrov. It's stupid. Mikhail Urkolovich. Urkel? Steve Urkel? You got any cheese or some major? And Stencil, he doesn't say her name. And there she is putting the wig back on. Our eventual goal for the hope of this great land and its people is nothing short of the unilateral and unequivocal overthrow of the Soviet socialist government. Are you all with me? The beginning. No, it's not the beginning. This is 1992. The USSR has fallen. It's like this comic was written in like 86 or something, 88, like when Reagan was, you know, absolutely destroying the Soviet Union and tore down the wall, you know, created the steps so that the wall would be torn down between East Germany and West Germany. And this comic didn't get made until like 3 years later for some reason. And it's not even good. It's terrible. But those were good. Marvel masterpieces with art by Joe Jusko. Beautiful. This is beautiful. These were like the first expensive cards ever made. Like, ever. I can't remember how much they were a pack, like $3 a pack. You got to realize that cards before that were like $1 a pack. But these were real gems. These were so popular. These moved the needle more than this shitty comic book ever will. Soviet super soldiers. I don't know if this is where where the leftists first took over Marvel Comics. I don't know if this is a plot by Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. Everyone knows Trump has been working for Putin 30 years. So it's possible he used this power. Marvel Comics, Donald Trump. Both from New York. Both from New York. So I'll let you figure it out. If you bought this comic and you are an American, leave a comment telling me how crappy it was. If you bought this comic and you are Russian, tell me if you like this comic in comments below. Please like. Please subscribe. Please hit ding dong for a notification. I will not ever do shitty Marvel Soviet comic again, where you do not know who bad guy is, you do not know who good guy is, you have villain in baggy clothes, you have girl from Florida school shooting, like wearing wig and dress for no reason that make no sense to anyone. None of it make any sense to anyone, much like communism. It does not make any sense. Just like a Russian conspiracy that Donald Trump is in bed with Russians, it doesn't make any sense to anyone with brain. And that is how I feel about Soviet super soldiers, how I feel about the Russian conspiracy with Donald Trump. And I am done now. I can't take it. I cannot take this crap anymore. I have to go find new comic. You guys wait for me right here. I'll be back in a little while with better comic to share with all of you. Apologies for promoting communist agenda. You would think I am Department of Education in America, the way I am promoting communist agenda with this. All right. Peace. Today, peace. V for Vladimir.